Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremost, I would like to thank Hula Mustafa Saab and all the sponsors for giving us the opportunity to be here today and talk about some of the key elements I would like to highlight very quickly. Just to give you a quick intro, it's been about 20 years since I've been in the industry, uh, driving different transformations with different companies, but with Oracle, it's been about 9 years. Or when I looked at the digital transformation journey, I thought talking about future technology for business transformation is probably the most key element that we need to discuss and see how can we help the larger audience in understanding what's it all about. For me, a critical thing that even Sajjad Sayyid Saab touched upon was the cloud. And I'm going to spend some time talking about what the application professionals, our technology professionals, our business transformational engineers need to know, understand about the cloud. And what it be the cloud native meaning? और उसमें pertinent होगा to talk about SaaS. The key takeaways I would request or expect the audience to take away would be कि कौन सी different cloud technologies हैं हमारे पास और उनको हम कैसे यूज़ करते हैं and what are their impacts on the technology professionals. सजाद सईद साहब की presentation में हमने देखा we spoke about AI, machine learning, blockchain, and how it's disrupting the current ways of doing business from ERP 1.0 to ERP 4.0. Incredible journey for the ERP world. But let me ask a very pertinent question from the audience, and I hope everyone will, resonate to it. Is, okay, do we understand the difference between private and public cloud? Just show of hands. How many of us understand what is the difference? Well, we're talking about digital transformation. We're talking about going forward with the ERPs. Do we really know the difference? And if the answer is no, it's okay. That's what we're going to talk about. And I'll help you understand at least. And let's keep it very interactive. I'll give you a lot of time to ask me questions. But a genuine takeaway would be that we understand what and where the ERP transformations go from where we are today. Some of the points have already been discussed with Zad Sayyid, but let's discuss some of them in detail. The question comes in when we talk about all these technologies, when we talk about artificial intelligence, when we talk about machine learning, when we talk about blockchain, when we talk about robotics process automation. A question that at least I would have if I was running an organization is why cloud? What is the difference? What are the different clouds that we have today in the market? And it's very important to understand because trust me, all of them are not the same. By the way, just to talk about when I'm specifically focused on cloud, the cloud market globally is about $300 billion market right now. And it's growing by 20% per annum. So we can understand where we're going to be standing in about 10, 12, 15 years from now on. It's going to be massive. As he said, it's something that we have to adapt and adopt. It's not an option. It's a mandatory requirement. I think regulators have started to ease up. We have seen massive regulatory changes in our banking sector, where State Bank has been opening up, letting banks transform the HR data, and I'm sure the journey is going to progress. So what is the basic reason, what is the driving force factor behind this cloud adoption, the true digital transformation as we're talking about? So what has happened in the recent past is that we have seen a massive amount of growth, which has transformed into a massive amount of requirements coming in from all the domains that we see in our businesses, whether it's HR, whether it's sales, whether it's any other domain, finance, purchasing, supply chain, procurement. HR, for example, has a need to transform the talent acquisition, the onboarding experiences, the recruiting experiences. Then for the sales, there is competition, there is customer expectations, there is customer retention, there is outreach, time to market. For our technology teams, there is convergence of technology coming in. Security. For finance, I think compliance probably is one of the key areas where they want to see transformation. But do you genuinely feel we have the ability to respond to these needs the way we are structured today? I don't think so. And then there are things the world is doing. That's where the cloud comes in. When we look at a lot of media commentators, analysts, they are talking about the current age as the fourth industrial revolution. And while we're entering in fourth industrial revolution, the kind of challenges that we're facing needed modern answers. Right now, today, we have challenges of IT infrastructure. We don't have IT infrastructure to support it. It's as simple as that. We have legacy IT infrastructures in various organizations. Some will have some will have more, less, but every organization does have it. We have data issues. We all know that. There is no data. Sajjad Sayyid touched upon MDM. Absolutely we need it. Processes. Do we have defined processes? Standardized processes? I don't think we do. Do we believe that our banking system, all the banks have a standard process today? They don't. The manufacturing, not at all. And the list can go on. Operating models. Do we have standard operating models today? I don't think so. Again, something that we have to contemplate on how to do it. But most importantly is the people and culture. All these factors are a massive challenge when we are talking about our ability to respond to the growth needs the world of today demands us. So one of the simplest and the most easiest way to respond to these needs, these challenges, is to have standardization, processes, standardization, implementation, ease of converting businesses into more transaction volumes is via cloud. And I'll tell you why. But before we do that, again, coming back to the point and the question I asked, do we understand the differences between private cloud and public cloud? It's very important for us to understand it because that is the true digital transformation and the technology that we're going to see forthcoming. And I'll explain you what I'm going to say. So legacy, traditionally what was there, we have an end user, we have application, we have integration layers, we have security, database, OS, storage, networking. We all are aware of it. These are few layers that our data centers have today. Let me take an example of AWS. What does AWS do if we put our transactions, our applications on AWS? They will take away your storage, compute, network needs. That's about it. These three needs will be taken care of. End user, application that you're going to transform on your cloud are still going to be the same. Your integration is still going to be the same. Your security needs are going to be fulfilled by you. Your database, your service OS is still going to be delivered by you. And hence, we have a need to transform this. That's where SaaS came in play, software as a service, where the only risk that you have is end user. What I'm saying is segregation of duties, passwords. I'm sure there are tons of DBA sitting who understand what I'm saying. That's all you need to do. The rest will be taken care of by the SaaS provider. What does that mean? That means you are not buying a product, you're not buying a service, you're not buying a subscription, you're buying what we call an SLA. When we talk about SLAs, all your risks are going to be settled by the application provider, the service provider. You don't have to worry about, as Sajjad Sahib was saying, scalability. आज आपके 500 यूजर हैं, you have acquired a company, I was just discussing, 1000 बंदों की और कंपनी ले लिया आपने. How do you integrate? What do? You set up a new data center? You rely on the data center they had? Absolutely not. That's not the need of the today. The need of today is that you go back to your vendor, say, I need 1,000 more people provision. It should be provisioned, let's say in 2 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever. Acquiring a data center will take you years. My friends who are from the infrastructure build will understand that developing and maturing a data center is a years-long process. It's not a day-long process. We need is something which is faster, innovative. Only SaaS can do it for you. And not just any SaaS, a SaaS provider that brings you an SLA, a service level agreement. Thank you. The SaaS, as I said, is a no-brainer choice because it gets you the best practices. It gets you the regular updates. You don't need to update your system anymore. We all know how painful the update of a system could be. We've all been through it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And I'll tell you a very interesting fact. What we're trying to do and achieve here is to convert our system admins, our DBAs, into meaningful analysts that can genuinely provide meaningful information to the executive management. Convert these roles into more meaningful roles. Let someone else take care of it. And when we talk about it, a very key element is security. Every organization, as we know, is very concerned about security and cloud. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever, X number of people working on security. We have a SIEM implemented. We have encryption softwares. Do you believe that can do the trick? Absolutely not. A SaaS provider has got hundreds and thousands of customers and got massive teams, much more mature team in terms of their ability to understand and identify the threats before it happens and respond to it. It is the most secure environment. That's why these companies will come and sign SLAs with you. Otherwise, why would they? And these SLAs do cover your security, by the way. So that's where we need to go. That's where the digital transformation, the genuine digital transformation will happen. Again, a question for the audience. If you're planning for a genuine digital transformation, are you now, since you've heard what I said, are you talking about, thinking about, discussing a SaaS, software as a service, or just a lift and shift of a legacy technology, or not planning anything? That's a question I genuinely want everyone running their business to ask themselves. What is your digital transformation? What is the future of it? Where are you going to take it forward? Is it just an upgrade? If it is, then I'm sorry, it's not a digital transformation you're just doing an upgrade. If you're shifting your legacy system to infrastructure as a service that you can get from AWS, Azure, you name them. Oracle has it, every company has it. I sell it. But that's not a digital transformation. That's just moving your data center needs out of the way. What we are talking about is the digital transformation that will help you move and get up to the speed with the needs of today. Needs where you want to transform, respond to the global audience. We want to be the textile leaders in the region. Want to beat our neighbors, Bangladesh, Turkey, whatever. Do you think we can do it with the way we are running our business today? I don't think so. I'm afraid I have to say that. We need to think bigger. We need to think faster. We need to have more agility. We need to have a better time to market. Innovation without digital disruption is not going to happen, unfortunately. If we all believe that our textile industry, if our healthcare industry, even in the COVID era, if we see, is going to be able to respond, absolutely not. Before, we used to have on-prem applications. We have about 5 to 6 years, 7 years of adoption cycle for a legacy ERP. I'm sure most of the ones we've implemented know. It takes about 5 years to mature. The updates are quite costly. You're paying money for the updates year on year. And then, of course, once there is a version change after every 3 to 5 years. And the requirements take ages. I mean, to gather, you do an upgrade, and then there are more requirements. And you keep chasing that, just like a mouse and rat game. What do you need now is a cloud application with continuous innovation, new features and technologies coming every 90 days, 30 days, 60 days, whatever. You don't have to worry about the patches. It's already done. You don't have to worry about system upgrades, standardization of processes. You don't. And most importantly, immediate feedback you can give to the vendor who will fix it for you. or a partner for that matter. I would call them partners. New technologies like the ones that we discussed, AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence, are already baked into the system. You don't have to create them. You don't have to acquire them. They're already there. What does that bring us to? Basically is implementation speed and lower risks. Agility, speed to market, time to market at a very, very low risk. That's what the SLA is all about. That's the takeaway we want to understand that we have today. Now again, coming back to specifically SaaS suites, you have your operations and supply chain covered, you have your customer experience, CRMs, HR needs, IT needs, finance needs. All of them are covered through artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, blockchain, digital assistants, chatbots. I'll give you an example of something very simple that we used to do was to have a legacy expense management system where we would take a receipt, staple it, make an expense report and send it. Today, I don't do it anymore. I just take a picture. My application is smart enough to understand what is the expense, if it's a printed receipt, if it's not handwritten, because I get a lot of handwritten receipts as well. But if it's a printed receipt, it will understand what the expense is, put it in the expense report. I only review it and say, save. That's about it. That's the agility and speed we're talking about. We don't have to collect, save the receipts, go back. We all travel. We all understand what it is. That's how to simplify your user experience. The biggest contributing factor towards my discussion about SaaS would be the user experience. Let's face it, we all have a smartphone today. Everyone does. The user experience that it gets to our smartphone is absolutely the same that you're going to get on a tablet or on a laptop. It's absolutely the same. We don't have to worry. Today's world, most of the business leaders have expenses to approve, have proposals to approve. You can simply do on the click of a button in an email. It will be integrated to your SaaS solution. It will get approved. You can do it on travel. You can do while on the go. You don't have to wait to get back to the office, connect to your VPN or whatever it may be, and then approve something or process something. We don't have the luxury of that kind of time, the luxury of that slowness. It's a luxury that we used to have. I don't think we have anymore. If we want to compete with the world, if you want to compete in the international markets, you want to process an order, do it on the go, right away, do it. Your system should be smart enough to understand what are you trying to process, what are you trying to implement, what are you trying to improve. So user experiences, of course, is going to be absolutely same as any person sitting in US, Europe, or anywhere else in the world. That's the agility, that's the ease of business that we're looking for. I'll give you an example of a modern finance person. I'm sure most of us know them or are actually from the finance. Most of the time is spent collecting data, making spreadsheets, building those spreadsheets. Excel spreadsheets, our best friend from the past. Developing reports, putting activities, performing different tasks on it, and then presenting them. The future finance person should have automated data. So those 3 days of work is already done. Let's say you start on a Monday. It's already done. You do your analysis, you build customized dashboards, present, move on, do analysis, give some constructive feedback, be part of the decision-making process instead of just being a data collector and provider. And again, I'm speaking from my direct experience. In tons of roles that I've done, instead of putting Excel sheets, now we have CRMs. Click, approve, move on. Life goes on. Everyone is connected. Automated, streamlined, adapted best practices. Quick to report. These are tons of attributes, value additions that I can share. I'm conscious of the fact that I've taken a lot of time, so I think I'll just jump back to the first three topics that are discussed. There are different technologies, cloud, we now understand. There's on-prem, there is cloud, and then there's differentiation in cloud that we spoke about. How disruptive current emerging technologies is, I would say take away the SaaS as one of the most disruptive technology right now. And why and how is it impacting? I'm sure you must have picked on something. If there is any questions, I'd be more than happy to take them and explain them right now or even one-on-one later on. So any questions, please let us know. किसी के question is, if you can just pass on the mic. And thank you for having me today.